happened? We can go in the shade or something like that. It's easier.
A crying mom on her front steps after her special needs daughter disappeared.
Okay. You want to talk outside with me?
She's scared.
But investigators say what they found changed everything, taking this case far beyond a search for a missing child. What doctors allegedly found that made this a case of alleged child abuse. We're on the case, presented by Law&Crime. I'm Chris Stewart. We have some very sad, newly released body camera video out of Florida, and I will warn you, it was not easy to watch. A mom reported her 13-year-old autistic daughter missing. But with what's being alleged in this case, that young girl may have escaped a home where she was allegedly abused.
It's here.
Oh,
No, I'm not her mother, and I know it was.
okay. You want to talk outside with me?
She's scared. I tried to get her to talk, but that's the noises she's making.
It's okay, come on.
Go outside. Go
It's
outside.
okay.
Go outside with that nice lady.
You want to talk outside with me? Hello. You want to stand over here and we could talk?
Now, in this body camera video, you have an officer with the Leesburg, Florida Police Department that is called to this store because there's a girl who appears to be nonverbal, who is alone, and some of the Good Samaritans inside are trying to figure out where she came from. According to court records, that girl had one shoe on. She was wearing a soiled diaper. She had a jacket with her that appeared to be covered in feces, and no parents were on site. A store manager says actually the same girl, her name's been redacted, was at their location 2 days prior. In that case, it appeared that she was with her mom, but in that case again, that girl appeared to have a soiled diaper. But on this day, the officer's trying to figure out how the girl got here and where she came from.
All right. Do you have a name? Can you tell me anything like that? Can you come over here?
Hey, come on this way.
Come here.
This way's okay.
You want to come in over here and just talk to me?
No.
Come here. Here, come here. Do you want to sit over here and talk to me?
So you don't know her?
No, they said they
You want to talk to me right here? Let's write down these words. Can I get EMS 51 due to altered mental status? Do you want to come over here and talk to me? What's going on? Where'd you come from? Come here.
Okay, so.
Come here. Yes, it'll be referenced to her. Can you tell me where you came from? Do you want to write something for me? What's going on? You okay?
Now, as police try to piece together what happened at the store, they receive a 911 call from a woman named Amy Evans. She is the girl's mom. She says that her daughter went missing from a home about an hour earlier. She says that she went into the shower, and when she got out, her daughter had vanished. Found it interesting in the police report that Evans said that she was in the shower for no more than an hour. She was at her boyfriend's house, and when she gets out, her daughter, she says, is missing. She says that her boyfriend's house is 0.3 miles from the store where her daughter's currently at. Police then go to that house, but they don't bring Amy Evans' daughter with her because it seems like they want to know what the circumstances are inside this home and how this girl with special needs went missing. The girl has been brought to the hospital for treatment. Now, this is the initial conversation that they have with Amy Evans.
You can go in the shade or something like that. It's easier.
I came to visit my boyfriend and she was asleep.
Who was?
My boyfriend, he was in the kitchen trying to make breakfast, and I went to go take a shower. When I go back, she's gone. I tried to keep the gate locked.
So, when did you notice that she wasn't here or at your residence?
I just got out of the shower, so that's like maybe 30 minutes, maybe probably less than that, because I was scrambling trying to.
So, who's all home right now?
My boyfriend's here.
Okay, ma'am, listen, we have her and she's safe. Okay? She's at the hospital now, getting treatment, okay?
Now, certainly the fact that the girl is safe, that she's at the hospital just being checked out, that is good news. And make no mistake, I mean, things happen as parents, and you feel for a parent who would suddenly realize that their child would go missing like that, especially a child with special needs. Now, Evans appears to be very distraught in this body camera video, but in the police report, officers allege a little more context here because they say there's more to the story. They write that Evans appeared to be apprehensive, fidgeting, leaning excessively, and they say she would zone out during the conversation they had with her. And they do write in the report that she may have been under the influence of narcotics. Now, at this point, Evans is not facing any drug charges in this case. Police say, other than this interaction, when you saw her so emotional on the front steps of her home, after that, they say she didn't really show any emotion. They say that Evans couldn't provide a picture of her daughter other than one from roughly a year prior. She also allegedly said that her daughter became nonverbal and autistic, quote, out of the blue. Police say Evans' boyfriend, who is the one who actually discovered that the victim was missing, when they talked to him, he said that once they realized the girl was missing, they ran outside and tried to find her. Now, there is another adult who is living in this house, someone who's identified as a roommate. They say that they watched Evans and her boyfriend search for her daughter, but they claim that Evans, quote, did not appear concerned for the welfare of the victim, as she was the one who instructed the boyfriend and the defendant to call 911. Now, the roommate said that Evans was actually more concerned with taking that shower so she would look presentable than calling police to report the girl missing. Now, a story like this, it's awful. And for a young person with so many struggles, allegedly not in a place with people who are capable of caring for her based on what police are writing, it's tragic. But police also talk about what investigators allegedly found at a hospital. And sadly, this story gets worse and scary. A DCF rep was called to the hospital, and they say, according to court records, that hospital staff noticed a burn on the victim's arm, seemingly from a cigarette. Staff also saw bruises, they say, and scars on the girl's body, which they do note that those could be injuries that have been self-inflicted. Now, back at the house, police arrest Evans, and they tell her it is for alleged child abuse.
You can just talk behind the car. I mean, whatever's easier. Right here. All right.
So you're under arrest right now, okay? For simple child abuse. Child abuse? Yes, ma'am. Child abuse. Based on the information here.
And I abused her. I've never put my hands on her.
I'm doing well. How are you, Charles?
Charles, can you tell Monty to come here?
No, he doesn't. No one needs to come here.
All right. Get her in the back of your seat.
I'm gonna search her.
Yes.
All right, just go up against there, okay? You have anything I should know about on you?
Not that I know of, no.
So is that a no or a yes?
I don't have anything on me. I'm just putting shorts on.
You wearing a bra?
Yeah.
Anything in that bra? I'm just gonna pat you down, okay? Can you widen your feet for me? You said you are wearing a bra?
Nothing shoved in there, anything like that? What have you taken today?
Nothing.
Nothing? Yeah, so you're gonna tell me you're not
Just
on anything right
face the
now?
car still.
I'm fucking nervous because my fucking child fucking took off.
Okay. So you haven't taken any narcotics today?
No.
Anything last
I'm
night?
gonna check your bra, okay?
And what's your drug of choice?
I don't do anything. I used to smoke weed, but
There's no point of lying now.
It's not like you can get in trouble for that.
Yeah.
I mean, I take the Xanax here and there, like,
All right. You're right here.
will you wait till my mom gets here?
Yep.
Can you go sit it on this side of the
I will, but you gotta get in first.
Okay,
Okay?
this one. Oh,
Online court records state that Amy Evans was arrested on account of child abuse, simple neglect. Court records also show that a no contact order has been issued that states that Evans cannot have contact with the victim in this case or go within 500 feet of her. Evans, at the time of this recording, is still in the Lake County, Florida jail. Joining us now to talk more about this case is retired NYPD Detective David Sarney. Always great to have you on Law and Crime. I want to start first with just the call to a store where you seem to have customers who have this 13-year-old girl. I mean, obviously, very much, is someone who has struggled, has special needs. There are some concerns here. As a police officer, how are you taught to handle that first interaction with someone who's nonverbal and on the spectrum like what we see here?
Well, thank you for having me. The thing when you're dealing with these type of situations, 911 call comes in, you respond, you observe, you do an observation, you speak to the people who made the 911 call if they're there, and then you meet with the individual. You're meeting with this in this case is juvenile, this kid. You're not able to communicate. Now the thing is, you have to again look at the physical aspect, anything physical about her. Apparently, in this case, she has feces all over her. She seems to be nonverbal in the sense she doesn't communicate. So now we have to figure out where she come from. So what you would probably do, and the smartest thing you do, is call and confirm with if there's been any 911 calls for any missings during that time frame, because you're going to do a brief canvass of the area to see if there's somebody around that's looking for her. But again, you're going to start looking at a history, because like when she went, just saw her now. Is she missing? Okay, let's see who made any phone calls. Anything we have identifiable on her, some sort of notes, some sort of identifying, maybe an ID card or something pinned to her. They don't see that, so you're going to have to kind of track and see if anyone makes a 911 call, either pre-observation or during the observation or post-observation of this girl.
And they get a 911 call that comes in from the girl's mom. Apparently, she was in the shower. She gets out and then realizes, according to the police record, something along the lines of she and her boyfriend realized that their daughter, her daughter's gone. It stood out to me. There were just a couple things that stood out to me reading through it. I think the first part was that she was in the shower for an hour. No judgment here on that, but just like from an investigator's standpoint, when you start to hear that and you're trying to figure out, like, is this just an honest mistake or something that just like miscommunication and this girl gets away from the house and they're searching for, and there's a sense of honesty with that. But then when you hear like a detail like that, does that set off a red flag for you that we need to look a little bit deeper? Just even something as simple as a shower going for as long as that.
Yeah, absolutely. What you may have one officer speak to her, get one side, one story. And if the story changes or you start making questions about it, like an hour, then you try to get a timeline straightened in. What time did you wake up? Tell me what happened. What time did you wake up? Did you notice her? Did you go into a room to check her? We look at these things for an hour, and then you have to sort of question that hour. Not many people stay in a shower for an hour. But here's the thing about this. And this is where you really have to gauge, is what happened a criminal act by law? Yes. But what you're dealing with maybe in this case is a person who is afraid, you could say is afraid to be arrested because she knows she screwed up and she's going to make up a story, which is going to happen because, if it's a criminal act, you're getting arrested. But there's more to this story. And I think that's one thing you have to realize when it comes to, and that's why you talk about autism. She say autistic, when did you notice that? We talk about these things. What issues does she have? When she goes to bed, what do you do? We ask all these things because we want to get a basic understanding of the relationship between the child and the mother. And as that conversation goes, it may go with one officer there, a second officer, and if the story changes, then you start looking at maybe this is more than what she's saying. Maybe what this is in this moment in time is a criminal act, that she neglected the child at that time by letting the kid out of the house, and that'll be determined basically in court.
I mean, I'm not a doctor, but it also stood out to me in the court document that we have, where she said that her daughter became autistic and nonverbal out of the blue, and I just think anybody, that's just not how that works. And then there are just questions about what oversight looks like with that. It doesn't have a picture of her daughter for roughly a year, and there it's not criminal not to take pictures of your kid, but at the same time, that is something I think for detectives that, like, kind of as you're piecing together, is this a safe environment? Like, those are the things that just I'm sure would add up over time, because it certainly adds up as you read through this police record. Some questions of, okay, what's actually going on in this home and with the guardians that are around this 13-year-old with special needs.
Yeah, the best information you get, you have the boyfriend there, there's people in the house, and is the roommate, the person who's living there, and that person is being a witness, is probably going to give you a better picture than both people involved, than the boyfriend or the girl or the mom. Then she gives more detail, so then you get to understand that this child and the mother in this case, seems to be unable to care. She tries, based on what I'm understanding from the roommate, that she puts her in a diaper at night, and it doesn't. She seems unkept. She seems, when you're dealing with a nonverbal autistic, if you don't have the proper assistance and you're dealing with it on a daily basis, it can be taxing. And that's how I look at it. This is a criminal act, but there's more to the story. And I think when they spoke to the roommate, who is not a participant in any of this, that she tried to get them involved, that she noticed that the mother was worried more about getting herself together before getting involved. I'm like, that's kind of odd, but you're dealing with a person who, I don't know the accuracy of this autism, finding out like a year. That doesn't make any sense. You're going to look at the medical history. Has she taken the child to the doctor? Has she been diagnosed? Has she ever had child services? Has there any domestic incidents have taken place where the police have been responded to that house? These are all going to come into play as this case goes forward. But the initial thing you have right now is the child got out. She seemed to care but not care. But I think that's where the arrest will take place. You have probable cause to make the arrest because there is neglect, feces on her. You don't see that normally. All the levels of suspicion come up. She gets arrested for it. But the next part is, what is going to happen next? Law enforcement does what they do. They do their part. They are able to locate the mom. They speak to the boyfriend. They speak to the roommate. They do everything they do on that aspect of the criminal side. Now, what's going to happen on the criminal justice side with the prosecutor, the judge, and so forth?
And it seems like, too, on one hand, you have a house where you can say, okay, this is someone who just isn't equipped to take care of someone with such big needs and a medical condition that's, very, very challenging for parents. And I think there's a lot of parents out there that can speak to that. But then it seems like this story goes in a new direction when the 13-year-old is taken to the hospital and you have bruises, you have scars, which they do note those could be self-inflicted. We don't know, but there's a cigarette burn, it appears, on this child. And that is something that I think we can all assume is probably not allegedly something that a 13-year-old who is nonverbal and autistic could do to themselves. I mean, maybe possible, but you have to investigate that. What does that mean for this case going forward? She's facing one child abuse charge right now, but when you see something like that cigarette burn, like, what does that mean for where this could go next?
Well, that's where you're going to have to speak to the doctor. Where is that burn located? Would it be reasonable for that incident being accidental injury? And that's where the doctor comes in. Where is the location of that cigarette burn? Where location of the bruises? That's why you have to go to the history of the child, and that's where the prosecutor's office really is going to have to do a deep dive into that, into this child, and finding out the contact that they've had with school, if she's in school, if she has a special needs school, what has been the contact with the principal, the teachers she has. This is the thing. We don't even know she goes to school. There's a lot of things that are missing in this. The injury sustained to her, could that have been intentional by the mother? We don't know. It can't be determined yet. That's where the boyfriend gets involved. You speak to the boyfriend a little further about that. You speak to the roommate about it. Have you ever seen her get upset? Have you ever seen an issue like that? And who smokes in the house? Because these are things you're going to ask this as you look at these things. When you take you should go back. And this is one thing. We get all the information here. We speak to the doctor. The doctor gives us what they have, their prognosis. We take photos and the like. We look at the injuries. Could these be inflicted by someone else based on where they are, the location? That's why the cigarette burn is really important to know, is as to where it is, and could the victim here have done it themselves intentionally? Who smokes in the house? That's why when they go back to the house, they notice it's not as well kept as it should be. But you're talking about people who maybe of their economic means are not there. Apparently, there's not a lot of food in the house, which is that's the other part of the neglect aspect to it. So, and these are things you're going to look at, and this is where, and I feel for the mom. I know the mom is a defendant in this case. The charges may go through, but she doesn't have the ability. She doesn't have the ability. I'm not being a bleeding heart in this, but when you put kids and parents in a situation and it's repetitively difficult for them, they burn out, they give up, they're like, I don't care anymore. That's why the cigarette burn could have been unintentional, depending on the type it is, the location it is, who smokes in the houses and all that. But
yeah,
it's bad all around for everybody, but you want to see the best possible results for the girl, because that's the thing. And the mom has to figure it out, and hopefully they gear her toward the social services she could use to at least make this better for the kid. But right now there's an order of protection against her to stay away, a stay away order, so she's not going to be dealing with her.
What's going to happen? I mean, even in the short term, and again, we don't know the relationship. I mean, you know that there's just a lot of work in helping care for someone who has this type of disability. But now you have an order of protection that's been in place. I think the time we're recording this, at least the last time I checked, she is still being held in the county jail in Lake County, Florida. So she is not around her daughter, nor is she allowed to be within 500 feet of her, according to this order. What happens to the girl now going forward?
Oh, now, do they put her into county services, or are they going to have her in a residential home pending this investigation? Does she have family members that are involved? We don't really know. I mean, we don't need. That's why when you talk, hopefully, when I know the defendant in this case didn't really speak a lot to the police. She spoke enough until she decided she didn't want to write it down, because I have a feeling it was going to be she couldn't write down what she said because it's not true, it's not accurate. But this is where what's best for the child at this point, and this is where the county has to make the determination. We don't know if she's got family, relatives that are going to take care of her. I mean, this is, I hate to say, we've seen situations like this happen, and parents kind of just raise their hands and give up. And this may be one of those where she can't do it. So maybe the care of her daughter in a residential facility is the only way, given the fact of her autism.
And you're just thankful that there's good news in this story, that this girl is okay. Because you just think of, I think she went a little more than a quarter mile to get to this store. And, thankfully, she wasn't hurt along the way there. In general, for, dealing with cases like this, because again, there are moments, even parents of children who don't have special needs and the child can get out of the house. I think that there's just challenges and mistakes happen and things that could be looked at as criminal, but maybe it's just a mistake. And I don't know if that's what we're talking about here, but clearly the job of a parent for someone with special needs is a lot, to say the least. How do you balance, and who really makes that call on scene about whether or not we believe that this is a child abuse case, that we have to arrest someone, or this is just a situation where, the mom's been working hard to take care of this child every single day for 13 years. I don't know if that's true, but in this situation, the child got out of the house, and then, certainly this family gets into a situation that they didn't want to happen.
Well, that's where you see, that's why the investigation takes further. When we deal with child abuse cases or child neglect cases, you look at the house. When you're in the home, you're looking in the refrigerator to see if there's food. You're looking to see if where the child is sleeping, and the injuries that the child has is important, because I think that cigarette burn makes it something else.
Definitely.
We don't know if it's intentional or not, and that's the thing. Can you arrest somebody based on a cigarette burn? Can you say it's child abuse? We can't yet, but we can actually. That's why the independent witness was important and is important to this. because you could ask them further, hey, just a quick question. Who smokes in the house? She says she's seen the mother not able to do it. She's not saying she's a bad parent. She's just saying she's unable. But you have to really dig into those injuries to see how they could have been sustained, the extent of them. That's why the doctor is important to confirm with. And her medical records, the school records go back to this. The financial records, is she receiving financial assistance? Is the defendant receiving it? Is the child receiving any Social Security benefits? What is going on? Is the boyfriend receiving this? The boyfriend seemed to be, based on the report, seemed to be more involved into locating the daughter than the mom, because I don't know the length of stay with the boyfriend. We don't know where the baby's father is. We know nothing on that part. So the investigators and the police at the time could only deal with the situation that they have at that moment. Everything else extenuates when you get to the criminal justice system, and then the prosecutor will have to look at it. That's why, she's still incarcerated, because they believe they're looking into more in this, and probably going to get child abuse charges in this. It's possible.
Yeah, and we'll see what happens. Again, it's just thankfully that this 13-year-old girl is okay. She's now in the care of the authorities, was checked out by doctors. We'll see what happens next on the criminal side. Retired NYPD Detective David Sarney, always great to have you here on Law and Crime. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you very much, and stay safe.
That will do it for On the Case, presented by Law and Crime. Subscribe to us on YouTube and Spotify, and we are also streaming on Peacock. I'm Chris Stewart. We'll see you next time.